Chapter 6 Infancy Social and Emotional Development by Montana Parham. This chapter speaks about attachment, and attachments are bonds formed between two human beings on psychological, emotional, and physical levels. Babies have a stronger attachment to their primary caregiver, whether it be the mother or father. Most studies present the mother-infant relationship as most secure. Breastfeeding and attachment. Maternal mothers emit a natural odor, especially present during breastfeeding stages, that enables the infant to know, trust, and feel secure with them. Studies have proven this, revealing less stimulation when baby is exposed to unfamiliar faces or fear signals when maternal odor is present. In relation to this, I did breastfeed my son for a year, and in the beginning, I learned that because of their sight not being fully developed when they're born, the odor that mothers emit is actually helps them to find their mother and to find the breast when they are breastfeeding. And I can say that my son has a wonderful relationship with his father, but at the same time, I feel because of how much time we spent together and him breastfeeding for a year, that has definitely played a part in how strong our relationship is at this point. There are three different types of attachment patterns: secure, insecure, and disorganized or disoriented. Secure attachment is shown whenever there are consistent reactions. So, for example, when there is a secure attachment between the baby and their caregiver, say if they leave, the baby cries, and when the caregiver returns, the baby is soothed immediately. When there is an insecure attachment, the baby's behavior is inconsistent with the caregiver. And this can also be shown through their behaviors by either avoiding the caregiver or being seen as excessively clingy, almost as if they're seeking attention or they're seeking what they're lacking. And disorganized, disoriented attachment pattern is kind of a mix between secure and insecure. It's back and forth, not consistent. There are dazed behaviors with caregiver, and their behavior is just not predictable. So you can't say, oh, yes, the baby is comforted when the mother's around. The baby cries when the mother leaves. There's no white and black. It's in a kind of like a gray area there. In addition to that statement, secure attachment is encouraged with an affectionate, predictable, and consistent caregiver. So, somebody who has predictable behaviors is consistent with their routines and affection they give their child on a day to day basis. And insecure attachment can be seen with caregivers who are inconsistent with their daily actions. Everybody's circumstances are different, but normally, whether it be attachment patterns can actually be seen with caregivers other than the mother and father, such as babysitters. So basically, whoever the baby is around the most is whom they will either have a secure, insecure, or disorganized, disoriented attachment with. Stability and involvement. A constant and caring environment sets a stable foundation for security and trust with the caregiver. And the type of attachment the child has with the caregiver can change if the structures in the home change or worsen. This chapter also speaks on the involvement of a father and the father's role. Yes, studies have shown that mothers are normally the primary caregiver of the child, but in some situations, it's the opposite, with the father being the primary caregiver. And studies show that the more in tune the father is with the child's needs, the stronger the attachment is. Fathers do not have a maternal instinct per se, but their consistent actions and roles are just as significant in forming and developing relationships. For example, studies have also shown that most fathers would rather play with their child versus feeding them. And that could also go along with the maternal instinct of having the desire to nourish your child. Further roles of a father. Growing research reveals that children's mental and physical development boosts drastically when the father forms a bond from birth compared to those who did not. They also show that children who have had a close positive bond with their father have less stress, are more academically successful, and have lower crime violence involvement rates. So even if a father is not the primary caregiver, his roles are just as important and have proven to be significant more than what people realize. And also, this chapter does speak about maternal bonds, but there can also be very secure attachment in those who are adopted. The same studies go the same way. If there's a consistent caregiver who is affectionate, who provides a positive environment, that is who the child is going to be most secure with. Again, if the home deteriorates or the situations in the home become inconsistent, then that could also change the type of attachment that a child has with their caregiver.